Welcome back to JustScribble for a full flip through of plans by JustScribble. So before we get into the flip through, I wanted to go over just a few administrative items. First, I do have a full reveal of our 2025 launch, including our notebooks, both blank and lined, and our planners. And so I'll link that in the cards up above, and I'll also put it down in the description box down below so you can check that out if you haven't already. Second, a few of you have asked if we'll be offering clear covers for our planners. The short answer to that is no, we won't. Our planners, each volume of it is about the same size as an A5 Stalogy. It's the exact same width and the exact same height and about the same thickness. So that means that clear covers and jelly covers that are sized for the full year A5 Stalogy should fit our planners. But I will be doing a video in the future sharing how different clear covers and jelly covers fit our planner. That way you'll know where to shop if you need a clear cover for your planner. Third, as I shared in the reveal video, our 2025 planners and notebooks will be made with Sanzen Tomoe River paper. We are planning to use 68 GSM Tomoe River paper for our 2025 products. And I'm going to be doing a separate video to share the 68 GSM paper sample that I received with my sample books. And I'll be doing some pen tests to show how that paper performs since it's Sanzen's first batch of the 68 GSM Tomoe River paper. And lastly, and I did discuss this in the reveal video, some of the samples that I had made are made with 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. And then some of the samples that I had made are made on 80-pound paper. Producing a sample notebook or planner costs significantly more than even the retail price of a planner or a notebook. And producing one on Tomoe River paper is even more expensive because it has to be made on a special press. And because of the press that's used and the work that's required to create the samples in Tomoe River paper, most TRP planner samples only have the first signature printed, and then the rest is plain TRP, which is how our sample is printed. So it has the first signature printed, and then the rest is just plain TRP. So in order to have full planners printed so that I could do flip throughs and show you guys the unique setup and organization of our planners, I had our full planner samples printed on 80-pound paper with a digital printer. This means that the paper in the full samples that I'm going to be flipping through today is whiter than the white TRP that we're using in our actual products. It also means that the samples I'm going to be flipping through are quite a bit thicker than the actual volumes will be in your actual products. So you can see here how much whiter the paper is and also how much thicker the notebook is. So this one right here, this is what your actual product is going to be like, made with white TRP. And this one is a sample printed on 80-pound paper. And lastly, because these samples, the full samples, are printed with a digital printer instead of on a press, the quality of the print is not as good. And the difference really lies in the grid. So let me show you, for example, this is our monthly spread on TRP with the quality of print that you're going to see in your final product. This is the print from the digital printer. And so you can see when you compare the two that the main difference lies in the quality of the grid printing, and also any area that is shaded won't show up as well when printed with the digital printer. So I wanted to explain that and show it to you so that you could keep that in mind as we're flipping through these samples. The sample print is not going to be what you're going to get in your final product. This is the quality of the print for your final product. The purpose of the flip through is to really show you the full organization and layout of our planner because it is unique and very different than other planners on the market, and your print quality is going to be far superior than what you're going to see in this flip through. And then one last thing, I just wanted to show you the paper color. So like I said, we are using Tomoe River paper and we are using white Tomoe River paper. And when you compare the paper color to these samples, it looks like it's cream, but it is not cream, it is white. Let me move this out of the way real quick and I'll show you just real fast. So this is an Aura Estelle. They also use white Tomoe River paper, and you can see the paper color is the same. And then this has cream paper, so you can see what cream paper actually looks like. So it is white Tomoe River paper, even though when you compare against that 80-pound, it looks like it's cream. All right, so now we're going to get into the actual planners. The organization and layouts in both planners, the horizontal and the vertical, are identical, except for the weekly layout and one difference in the dailies. In this video, we are going to be flipping through our vertical planner, which I have here. So our planners do come in a 2-volume set. Volume 1 contains January through June, and Volume 2 contains July through December. They come with our almond covered color, and then all of the writing on the exterior of the planner is in rose gold. On the front cover in the center, it says the name of our planner, which is Plans. And then it has the year and the style. So in this case, 2025 vertical, and then the volume number. So this one says volume number 1, and this one says volume number 2. And then on the spine, it says the year and the volume number. So 2025 volume 1 and 2. And then on the back of the planners, it says designed by JustScribble. Our planners do lay flat, and even with this thick paper, you can tell that they are super soft and flexible, but it's more apparent in our Tomoe River paper sample. Our planners are very soft and flexible, and they do lay entirely flat. There are 352 pages in each volume, so each book has 352 pages. The entire planner is page numbered, and it features a 4mm grid. So let's get into the planner and do a little flip. I am not going to talk about in this video ways to use the layouts or different ways you could use the layouts of our planner. I did touch on that a little bit in the reveal video, but between now and the end of the year, I am going to be sharing sample spreads and also ideas to use different spreads in our planner. And so both on our website and here on YouTube, you're going to get ideas on ways to use the layouts. So I'm not going to talk about that as we flip through. I just want to show you how our planner is organized. So when you open our planner, and our notebooks actually, you have white end papers, so you can decorate them however you want or leave them plain. And then that first page, the one that's attached to the end paper, in volume 1 it says the one with my plans, and then at the bottom it has a place for your key. That way if you have a key, you can use this page functionally. And then when you flip the page, you go into the first spread of the planner, which is our annual overview. So on the left-hand page, you have 2025, and on the right-hand page, you have the first 4 months of your next volume so that you can future plan. That way you have a place to write down your events and appointments that get scheduled while you're in this volume that relate to the next volume. So this is volume 1, which covers January through June. So that means it has the first 4 months of volume 2. So it has July, August, September, and October with a place for you to write down your future planning. When you flip the page, you have your perpetual calendar. Because this is volume 1 and it covers January through June, it has the perpetual calendar for January from June. The perpetual calendar is in the format that most of us are familiar with. That's pretty standard in a lot of planners. It has a section at the top for you to write in. It has the date on the side and then a place at the bottom that you can write, and the weekends are shaded. When you turn the page, you go into our annual section. It starts out with a blank page on this side that you could use for your word of the year or a vision board, whatever it is you want. Then we have our annual preview page for 2025, which features 3 boxes at the top and then a grid section at the bottom. There are preview pages for each sort of section in the planner. So there's an annual preview, quarterly previews, and monthly previews, and the layout of all those previews are identical. When you turn the page, you go into our annual goals section. All our goals sections in the planner are designed in this same layout. You have 4 boxes on each page with header sections for each box so that you can break down your annual goals. After the annual goals section, you go into the quarterlies, starting with quarter 1, since this is the first volume. On the left-hand page, you have a blank page similar to the beginning of the annual section. And then on the right-hand side, you have the quarter 1 preview page, which has 3 boxes at the top and then a grid at the bottom. When you turn that page, you go into your quarter 1 goals, set up in the same format as the annual goals with 4 boxes per page with header boxes. And then when you turn the page, you go into our tracker section. The tracker section contains trackers for the months of that quarter. Because this is the first quarter section, you have the months of the first quarter. So you have January, February, and March. There's a place for you to track things you track weekly and things that you track daily. The weekends are shaded once again, just like on the perpetual calendar, and there is space here to write down what you're tracking. Additionally, there is a grid section below the tracking section where you could continue tracking if you needed more than the tracking sections that are listed there, or if you wanted to build a line graph or a bar graph for the month to track things, you could do that here. Or you could put a 1 through 31 in the case of March this way, and you could track additional items vertically. On the right-hand page at the end of the tracker section, you do have a grid page that you can use for notes on the things that you're tracking, that you can use for inspirational quotes, that you can use for graphs, whatever it is that you need. And then when you turn the page, you go into our project planner. You have the 3 months of the quarter down on the left-hand side, and then grid sections for each of those months on the right-hand side. The monthlies on the left-hand side are Monday start, just like the rest of our planner, and it is fully dated. And then when you turn the page, you go into your monthlies for that quarter. It starts with a grid page on the left-hand side and then your monthly preview page on the right. Once again, like the annual and quarterly preview pages, you have 3 boxes at the top and then a grid down at the bottom. When you turn the page, you go straight into the monthly. Like I said, it is a Monday Start planner, so you have a Monday Start monthly. You have a sidebar down the left-hand side, and the entire monthly is dated. So the days that relate to the previous month and the days that relate to the next month are dated, but they are in a lighter font, so they are distinguished from the days of that month. You do have the week numbers on the right-hand side, so it doesn't interfere with your sidebar, so you have all of this functional space. And the line that divides Friday and Saturday is a little bit darker than the lines that divide the rest of the days of the week to distinguish your weekend from your weekdays. The months throughout the planner do have thumb tabs, which, like I said, the shading is a little bit lighter and harder to see in the digital print, but you can see it there in the Tomoe River paper print. So there are thumb tabs for every month in the book, so you'll be able to navigate through your planner easily or lay tabs. When you turn the page after the monthly, you have 2 blank grid pages. You can draw a second monthly here if you need a second monthly. You can use this for a master to-do list. You can use this for your getting things done. You can use this for photos, for memory keeping, whatever it is you want. And then after that, you flip the page and you go into your weekly. So this is our weekly vertical spread. It has the week number indicated on it, just like our monthly does. It has a full sidebar on the left-hand side. It is a Monday Start. It is a timeline from 5 a.m. to 2 a.m. in a 12-hour format with half-hour increments. And there is space above the 5 a.m. where you can write events for the day, a birthday, a holiday, things like that. Or if you need time block earlier than 5 a.m., you can add that there. And there's a little bit of space after the 2 a.m. as well. And of course, if you don't need to time block your entire day, you can disregard the hours you don't need, and you can adjust the format to work however you need it to. After the weekly spread, when you turn the page, you go straight into the dailies. The left-hand page after the weekly spread is always a grid page, so that Monday is always on the right-hand side, so that Saturday and Sunday end up together in an open face spread. The daily pages are dated with the day of the week and the date. In the vertical planner, there is no timeline on the daily pages because you have a timeline on your weekly spread for time blocking. At the center of our blank grid pages and also our daily pages, there is a shaded box. Once again, a little bit harder to see on the digital print, but there is a shaded box that you can find the center of your page to divide it horizontally or vertically or into quadrants. You go through the entire week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then you go into the next week, the days of that week, the next week, the days of that week, etc., until you get to the end of the month, and then you have a recap. Our recap page is the opposite of our preview page. So our recap page has 3 boxes at the bottom and then a grid space at the top. So you can use this for a monthly reset, you could use it for your currently, you could use it to recap your goals, whatever it is that you need. And on the right hand side, you have the preview of the next month. So the February preview with the 3 big boxes at the top and then the grid at the bottom. When you flip the page, you go into your February monthly, set up the same way as January. Turn the page, you have 2 grid pages. Then you go into the first week of February and then the daily pages for that week. And after the daily pages, you go into the next weekly. And then you'll go through all of the weeks and days of February until the end of February. Then you'll have a February recap and then a March preview. Turn your page and you go into your monthly. March 2025 does have 6 weeks in it because the 31st lands on a Monday. So instead of dividing the day and giving a half day in our monthly spread, we added an additional row for our 6th week. The only difference is that this row, this 6th week, is 1 grid shorter. So our normal monthly box is 8 grid wide by 8 grid tall. The 6th week, in any month where there's a 6th week, it is 8 grid wide by 7 grid tall. We wanted to maximize the amount of space on the monthly so you would have as much functional space as possible, and we also didn't want to divide a day. This enabled us to make large monthly boxes, but still have enough space for a very adequate 6th week when it was needed. So after your March monthly, you turn the page, you have your 2 blank grid pages. Turn the page, you go into your first week of March. Then you go into the dailies for that week, all the way for the rest of March. And then at the end of March, you have your March recap, and that marks the end of the quarter. So then you have your quarter 1 recap set up in the same way with the boxes at the bottom and the grid at the top. When you turn the page, you go into quarter 2. So you have a blank page here, and then you have your quarter 2 preview, boxes at the top, grid at the bottom. You turn the page, you have your quarter 2 goals in that same goal format. Then you have your trackers for quarter 2. April, May, and June, and a grid page. Turn the page, you have the project planner for quarter 2. Turn that page and you go into the monthlies. So you have a grid page here, and then you have your April preview, followed by your April monthly, followed by the 2 grid pages, the first week of April, then all of the weeklies and dailies of April until the end of April. Then you have your April recap, your May preview, same thing, your month, your 2 grid pages, your first week of May. You go all the way through the weeks and days of May. Then you have your May recap, your June preview, your June monthly, your 2 grid pages, your first week of June, all the way through June. And then you have your June recap, your quarter 2 recap. And then you go into grid pages in the back of volume 1. There are 11 grid pages in the back for collections, notes, whatever it is that you need. And then the last page at the bottom says to be continued. It's a plain page that you can use for pen testing. On the very back it says don't forget to just scribble. You have your in papers and the back of the book. So that is volume 1. And volume 2 is set up in the exact same way, except for that it covers July through December. So when you open up volume 2, it says the one with more of my plans, and you have your key at the bottom. You have your annual overview with 2025 on the left-hand side once again, and then the first 4 months of your next volume, which would be volume 1 of 2026. So you have January, February, March, and April for future planning. You turn the page, you have the perpetual calendar for volume 2 that covers July through December. You turn that page and you go into the annual section, which is identical to the annual section for volume 1. So you can transcribe what you had in volume 1 if you want to, or you can do a goal reassessment mid-year, or you can change up how you're using these pages for the second half of the year. So you have your blank page and your 2025 preview, then you have your annual goals, then you turn the page, you go into quarter 3 with a blank page on the left and your quarter 3 preview on the right. Then you have your quarter 3 goals, your quarter 3 tracker with July, August, September, and a grid page, your quarter 3 project planner. You turn the page and you go into your months, weeks, and days for the 3rd quarter. You have a grid page on the left-hand side, and then you have your July preview on the right-hand side. Then you have your monthly for July, your 2 grid pages, and then you go into your weeks and days for July until the end of the month, where you have a July recap, grid at the top, 3 boxes at the bottom, August preview, 3 boxes at the top, grid at the bottom. You have your August monthly, your 2 grid pages, and then your August weeks, days, and months until the end of August. Then you have your August recap, your September preview, your September monthly, your 2 grid pages, your weeks and days of September till the end of September. Then you have your September recap, your quarter 3 recap, and then you start quarter 4. You have a blank page, your quarter 4 preview, your quarter 4 goals, your quarter 4 trackers, October, November, and December, and a grid page. You have your quarter 4 project planner, and then you go into the months and weeks and days of quarter 4. Grid page on the left-hand side, October preview on the right-hand side, October monthly, 2 blank grid pages, and then all your weeks and days of October. At the end of October, you have your October recap and your November preview. Same thing, your month, your 2 blank grid pages, your weeks and days of November till the end of November. Then you have your November recap, your December preview, December monthly, 2 blank grid pages, your weeks and days of December, then your December recap, your quarter 4 recap, a 2025 recap, and you have 10 grid pages for notes and collections, whatever it is that you want. Then the last page says the end on a blank page, which once again you can use as a pen test page, a washi graveyard, whatever it is you want. Then it says don't forget to just scribble. Then you have your end papers, and then you have the back of your book. Each volume contains over 50 blank grid pages throughout it that you can use for whatever it is that you want, as well as the blank pages that kick off the annual and quarterly sections. So that is the vertical planner and how it is set up and a walkthrough of it. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to put them down below and I will definitely get back with you. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this flip through. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss future videos, and don't forget to just scribble.